Yo, what's going on, guys? Who Day All Day, back with another video. So today we're doing my updated 2021 NFL mock drafts. We are going to be doing pick 1 through 18, and this will be the actual order of the NFL draft. All these teams are non-playoff teams, so they're done for the season, and they can no longer move up or down unless they trade up or trade down on draft day. But these will be the official picks of the 2021 NFL mock drafts, pick 1 through 18. Please remember to like and subscribe. Let's get right into the video. So, number 1, Jacksonville Jaguars. Had this pick for a little bit, secured it, I think 2 weeks ago, and Trevor Lawrence just actually said he will be foregoing his senior season and entering the NFL draft. So, 100% official now. You're taking Trevor Lawrence with this pick. It's the best player in the class, best quarterback in the class. Hopefully, you can get a good offensive-minded head coach they bring in to work with Lawrence and develop him as a quarterback. And I mean, people say he's the best quarterback prospect in years. So, get a head coach that can develop him, and they'll be pretty decent. Next, Jets. I can see them sticking with Darnold here, but I do have them grabbing Justin Fields. I definitely have Justin Fields over Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson's a great player, and he definitely narrowed the gap between closing in on quarterback 2 with Fields struggling. But I think after that Clemson game, I mean, unless he tremendously struggles against Alabama, Fields is the quarterback 2 in this draft class, and I have the Jets taking Fields. 3, Dolphins, Penei Sewell. I had them taking Jamar Chase in my last draft, but I'm going to switch up the picks. Different teams taking different needs, so it isn't the same draft every single time. I had them taking Penei Sewell with this pick. They got two tackles in their last draft. Austin Jackson on the left side, Robert Hunt on the right side. They can move Robert Hunt inside at either guard position, so they can put Penei whatever side they want. If you want to keep Austin Jackson at left, you can put Penei at right. Penei can play both tackles and even has guard flexibility, so you can really do whatever you want in that situation. They can definitely use a receiver. Like I said, I had them getting Jamar Chase earlier. I said I want to switch it up, and he's the best offensive lineman in this class by far, so I have them going there to help protect Tua. Next, Falcons. I have them grabbing Micah Parsons. Their defense has always been a struggle. Matt Ryan he's not MVP Matt anymore, but he had a solid season this year. I mean, we know how good Julio Jones is. Calvin Ridley really starting to come on these last 2 years. They can use a running back, but their offense is still pretty solid. They definitely need defensive side of the ball. They got A.J. Terrell in last year's draft. They need help on the defensive side, so I have them grabbing Micah Parsons. He can come off the edge too, and their edge presence isn't good at all, so he can even come off the edge for them as a linebacker. So I think that's a good fit for Micah Parsons to go to the Falcons. Next, Bengals, Jamar Chase, my team. Like I said, I had Jamar Chase going to the Finns before, and now I have them going to us. We need an offensive lineman, but there's no offensive lineman we can take this high. Like, we can trade back, which I'm completely okay with, but I don't want us to take an offensive lineman this early because none of them are that good to go 5th overall. Like, if you're super talented, it doesn't matter what position it doesn't matter if you go 5 or 20, but to pay, he doesn't have that much skill of it. Like, it's Durasaw or Cosme, or they don't have that much talent to be a top 5 pick. So we can use another receiver. We have a bunch of free agents coming up this year in receiver, and that'll add a whole nother level to our offense, bringing back the Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow connection. That'd be a pretty good pick for us. Next, back-to-back receivers going here. Eagles, Devontae Smith, Mr. Heisman, just won it last night. He's a freak. I mean, he's the best receiver in the country, best player in the country. I mean, won the Heisman. They need to add another level to their offense. They have Rieger. The receiver's always been a struggle for them. They drafted J.J. Ortega-Whiteside, trash. Jalen Rieger's been a little bit injury prone this year, He's been a little bit injured this year, but he'll come back next year. So I think you add another level to that offense, grabbing Devontae Smith, and take that step forward with Hurts at the helm next year, and that'd be a pretty good offense. Next, back-to-back receivers, Lions, grabbing Jalen Waddle here. I don't see them drafting a quarterback. It could happen. I had them taking a quarterback in one of my other mock drafts just because I wanted them to get rid of Matt Stafford, because I want to see Matt Stafford on another team. But realistically, I don't have them taking one. I think they need to add another level to that offense as far as Kenny Golladay is a free agent and Marvin Jones is a free agent. Let's just, in a crazy world, you lose both of them to different teams, you have absolutely no receiving core. Even if you lose one of them, even if you just lose Kenny Golladay or just lose Marvin Jones, you need another receiver in that offense. You can't just have one guy. Like, you got to have more weapons on offense, so I had them grabbing Jalen Waddle. Next, Panthers, Zach Wilson. Panthers need a quarterback bad. I was defending Teddy earlier. I mean, first year in the system, he wasn't struggling. He just wasn't playing as good, but they brought him in to play a lot better than he did play this season, especially having all these weapons with Curtis Samuel and Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore. McCaffrey was injured this year, but, like, getting, like, McCaffrey back. He had McCaffrey for a couple innings, 2 or 3 games. And you have Joe Brady, who's after 1 year of being a coordinator is already getting head coaching opportunities. Like, he's one of the best young offensive minds in the NFL, and Teddy struggled like he did being a veteran in this league for like 8 years. You can't struggle like that. So I do have them grabbing Zach Wilson to. I think that'll be a pretty good offense. Curtis Samuel is a free agent, but you have those three receivers with Christian McCaffrey and a young stud like Zach Wilson. That'll be a pretty nasty offense if you ask me. Next, Broncos, Patrick Surtain. They need a cornerback pretty bad. They have Callahan in the slot, who's not bad, but AJ Boye is absolute trash. I don't even know who their other cornerback is. And AJ Boye, he got suspended like the last 6 games of the season. I think that carries over to next year's next 2 games. He's washed anyway. He's been trash ever since Jacksonville. Ever since he left, even his last year or 2 in Jacksonville, he's just been garbage. So Broncos taking Surtain here. Cowboys, Caleb Farley, back-to-back corners coming out of here. Their defense is atrocious. It might even be worse than the Broncos secondary. It is horrible. It's so bad. So they got Diggs last year, Trayvon Diggs last year. Add Caleb Farley this year because we know what their offense can do with Dak and those 3 stud receivers and Zeke and Blake Jarwin coming back. And we know they can put up 30 points a game consistently. They just have absolutely no defense whatsoever. So they need to grab Farley. He's a great corner. He's got true 4.3 speed. He did opt out this year, but Farley's a very good player. Next, Giants. Gregory Rousseau. Their interior defensive line is very, very good. They just don't really have an edge presence, which sucks when you don't have an edge presence. So I do have them grabbing Rousseau here to add another level to that defensive line. Their secondary is decent. Bradbury was a great add this year. They extended Logan Ryan. They have Jabril Peppers coming on pretty well these last year or 2, playing that strong safety position, moving all over the field. So that secondary is getting pretty good. Now you need to shore up that defensive line because, like I said, that interior is awesome. It's one of the best interior defensive lines in the NFL. It's just they don't have an edge presence. So grab Rousseau here and add that edge presence to your team. All right, number 12 pick here, 49ers. I have them grabbing J.C. Horn out of South Carolina. They need a corner because Richard Sherman is gone next year. You have Jason Verrett, who's actually not bad, but if Sherman's going to be gone, you're going to want to grab another cornerback. We already know that defense is great. Robert Saleh, their defense coordinator, is probably gone, but they just have great players on that defense. Once you get their entire D-line got hurt in week 2 against the Jets, so Bosa went out with an ACL, and Bosa won Defensive Rookie of the Year last year. He was really supposed to come on this year and be like his brother, and after a couple years get a huge contract extension, and that torn ACL really set him back a little bit. So you get those pieces back on that defensive line, and you add another young rookie who's a pretty promising rookie in J.C. Horn, hopefully promising rookie, and that'll help shore up that secondary. Now the 13th pick with the Chargers. I do have them grabbing Kyle Pitts here. Hunter Henry is a free agent. Hunter Henry's still young, so it's not like he's old or anything, but Hunter Henry in his 4-year career has never played a full season. He's consistently injured every year. It's nothing crazy. He'll play 12 games, 13 games every year, so he's only missing a couple every single year, but for him to he's 26 right now, so 23, 24, 25, 26, you're that young and you're still consistently getting injured. You give him another contract, once he gets to that 29, 30 age, I think those injuries are just going to not be okay. So I have them grabbing Kyle Pitts here. He's the best tight end in the country, and I think that'll add a whole nother level to that offense. That offense will go crazy with those receivers and Austin Eckler and Kyle Pitts. Justin Herbert's going to freaking break records next year if that's their offense. So with the 14th pick for the Vikings, I do have them grabbing Elijah Vera Tucker. He has guard and tackle flexibility, and that offensive line does need to improve, especially the way they use Dalvin Cook and how they primarily really run their offense through Dalvin Cook, and they just gave Dalvin Cook that extension this past offseason. So grab an offensive lineman, shore up that offensive line, and keep using Dalvin Cook like you use him. Next, 15, Patriots. Kwity Paye out of Michigan. That's another team who doesn't really have an edge presence. I can see them because they run that 3-4, so I can see them grabbing a stud linebacker, like someone like Parsons, or who can come off the edge like that, but there's no linebackers that can really go this early that has that great edge presence. So I do have them grabbing Kwity Paye. Like I said, they need that type of edge, and they generate the second least. Yeah, they have the second lowest pressure rate or pressure. They have the second lowest pass win rate in the NFL. They need to add some kind of different mojo to that defensive line because what they're doing right now is not working. Next, Cardinals, Eric Stokes. He's a good outside corner. You're going to need replace Patrick Peterson eventually. He is contract year this year. If he goes to another team, if he retires, if we don't know what the deal is with him, and even if he does come back, you're going to need to replace him eventually. Patrick Peterson's out of his prime. He's not playing bad football, but he's no longer that dominant corner anymore. So they need to grab Eric Stokes out of Georgia. Like I said, just good outside corner, nice little Patrick Peterson replacement. Next Raider, Jeremiah Owusu Nokamura. I think I said that right. For the Raiders. Their defensive side is horrible. They got Arnett in last year's draft. They got Abram like 2 drafts ago. They got Furl. So even though they're drafting these defensive pieces, it's still bad. So I can see them definitely using a linebacker, and he can play all over the place. He's 216 pounds as a linebacker. He can move. He even plays like safety, like strong safety sometimes. He can just move all over. He has decent coverage skills, so he can move all over the place. Just add another level to that Raiders defense because they need it bad. Next, Dolphins, which is the last pick of the draft. I have them grabbing Toney out of Florida. Their 2 other starting receivers are Devontae Parker, who's 6'3", and Preston Williams, who's 6'5". I mean, they have like big, tall, lengthy, like go jump ball receivers, and they're using Lynn Bowen Jr. right now. He's like a quarterback / wide receiver / running back. Like he's all over the place, and he's like that's like the fast, shifty like slot receiver, and he's not bad. But I think you just grabbed Toney here, who's really come on this year with Trask. I thought he was just more of like a gadget guy, like punt returner, like. But he impressed me this year with like his actual like receiver ability, and he can run routes and stuff like that. He's not just some speed guy who's more athletic than people. Like he actually impressed me this year. So I think they go him. You can, like I said, you can move him all over. You can kind of how you use Lynn Bowen Jr. and freaking end around screens as a slot receiver. Like you can move him all over the place. Like they have Jakeem Grant, but no, Jakeem Grant's not very good. He's just fast. Like, we all know what Jakeem Grant is. So I think this is, like a Lynn Bowen Jr., Jakeem Grant, who can really play the receiver position and be pretty good for them. So that was pick 1 through 18. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please remember to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Go Bengals, go Buckeyes. Peace.